welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Monika and this is episode 17. Today I have one finished object, one project I'm mending, one I'm fixing, and two whips. But before I start with that, I'm gonna tell you about what I'm wearing. This is my Seascape sweater by Andrea Yetman, I think. The information will be down here in this corner when I talk about the different projects. I used quite a lot of different yarn for this project. I used Rauma Vandre for some of the grey and some of the white, or all of the white. And I used Hogna Garn Fongen, I think, for the green and the red. And I also used some mystery yarn, just because I didn't have enough of the grey from Rauma. Yeah. I did knit this to pattern except for two things. There was a mistake in this pattern so that the increases in the back, the German short rows, were skewed compared to the rest of the sweater. So I actually ended up frogging that part after I'd finished it. You knit it top down, and cutting out the yarn and then re-knitting it the other way. And the other, well, it's not a mistake, but this yarn does not give you the right gauge. So I think I knit size 2 to get size 4, which worked out really well, except for the mistake in the color. So yeah, if I had noticed that a bit earlier, I would have split for sleeves differently, and then that problem wouldn't have been there. But since I ended up fixing it the other way, by ripping out the collar, I do not know how to fix the math for the body. So yeah, I really do love this sweater. It's very nice and warm and cozy. It's rustic because of the yarn I chose, but that also means that the color work looks very, very pretty, in my opinion anyway. And yeah, I think that's about it for the sweater. So I'll continue with my one and only finished object, which I am very, very pleased with. This is a headband that I've designed, and I have decided to release this pattern. It's a one size pattern, but it's double knit, so you do get this very nice effect of the inside and outside having the same pattern, but the colors being reversed. This is a very traditional Skarphol, which I have slightly modified. Not enough that I'll actually gonna say that I invented that pattern. So when I do write up this pattern and release it, it will give you the color chart to get this specific pattern, and the amount of stitches and the yarn I used, and some tips and tricks when it comes to casting on and casting off in double knitting. I must say I am very, very pleased with how crisp the line between the different sides are. I can clearly see which side I cast on, but I don't think most people will be able to. I got to take some really nice photos of this, which I haven't been able to do yet. But yeah, it's very nice and cozy and warm, and I am thinking of trying to not shrink it necessarily, but just wash it in a slightly warmer water to make some of the yarn bloom a tiny bit more. and also get it a tiny bit tighter, because at the moment it does keep me warm, but it is a little bit looser than I would have preferred. Then again, I can't wait to wear this with my hair up, because I don't know if I've told you this, but I have an undercut, so, and it's quite long right now, but usually this hair is quite short, and that's very, very comfortable for me because I have a lot of hair, and I get too hot. But having my hair up means that my undercut is exposed, and in the winter that might be cold. So yeah, I am looking forward to having this to give the back of my head and neck a bit more of warmth. Yeah, I do wish I would have gone down a needle size, because the fabric is quite open, and I do think I would have preferred it if it was a bit more closed, but it was very, very, very tight to knit with this yarn. It is, the grey is Rauma Vandre in the colorway light grey, and the other color, the red, yellow and orange colored yarn is, wow, I forgot, Hogna Kvil, which is in the colorway ill, which means fire or flames. Both of these yarns are 100% wool, and quite rustic, and they stick to each other quite well, which of course then means that it was a bit tricky to knit with. It didn't fly out the needles also because I had to use wooden needles, which I don't prefer, because those are the needles I had available that I could actually get the right circumference. Yeah, but I did enjoy it, and I really do enjoy the finished object. I am thinking about using some of the leftovers and see how much I can actually make it felt, and how much smaller that will be, because I think this would be very, very nice as a felted fabric. I haven't decided. I'm gonna take a bunch of finished object photos of this before I ever try to do that, but I'm gonna knit a swatch and try and felt a swatch before I decide. I don't know. So yeah, that's the finished object this week. I only have one, so yeah, I'm putting it over here. The Fix It project is a bit bigger. I do think you've seen it before if you've been here before. Yeah, I'm just gonna show you. It's easier. My blue and purple sweater, which I did start re-knitting the sleeve for. This is actually now the third time I'm knitting the sleeve, because sadly enough, Sunday in the morning I was on a mission. I was gonna use Sunday to get this sleeve done, and I did some calculations and figured out how often I had to decrease, and I figured I had to decrease every other round to get the number of stitches I wanted at the end, because the sleeves are quite big, and on these sleeves I only decreased every 9 rows, I think. Yeah, and the calculations was, okay, if I want them to be that tight, I need to decrease every other row, and I did, and it just didn't look good, because the body is super oversized. It's big, it's cozy, it has volume. It actually looks quite well, except that the ribbing isn't looking the best. The sleeves are too big, but only slightly too big. I think this in the end, and then just tightening it with ribbing would have been enough. So I ripped back again, and now I'm only doing decreases every 4th row. So I'm still doing it more often than on this sleeve, which, to be honest, I only did 8 decreases on the other sleeve, and I think I'm gonna have quite a lot more. Well, I know I'm gonna have quite a lot more. At least 16, maybe even more. And I do think that would solve the issue with too wide of a sleeve, and then I can also do, if it's still too wide, I can do twisted rib to get it to really tighten up, but I think normal rib at a smaller needle size will be more than enough. I don't think I need to really decrease it a lot. So yeah, the sweater is made out of Sandnes garn double Sunday in the colorway Lilac and light turquoise. Yeah, I do believe that the light turquoise isn't available anymore, sadly. It's a very nice color, but I do think I have decided that the color doesn't suit the lilac together, so that's why I'm now ripping out the blue and knitting it with just the purple. That's the plan anyway. Yeah, this is a very addictive sweater to knit on, because at the moment it's one of the few projects I have that's stockinette that's not on tiny needles. So for once I don't have to like look at what I'm doing, as you probably notice. I'm actually just sitting here and knitting right now. And it's something I've missed a bit, to be honest. So yeah, I'm gonna continue knitting on this later tonight. I was able to get, I'm gonna say, a third of the sleeve done. Of course now it's just gonna go faster and faster over every round because it gets smaller and smaller, but yeah, that's gonna take time. And I am annoyed that it's taken me this long to actually do it, because I think this sweater is gonna be really cozy when I'm done. And if it's only in one color, I think I could actually wear it outdoors too, like out of the house, not necessarily without a jacket. I don't think I could do that, that would be too cold. But yeah, I am looking forward to having this sweater back, because at the moment I only have 2 wearable sweaters that I've made myself. I do have more woolen sweaters, some store-bought, some my mom or my grandma knit. None of them I bought myself, because for quite a while I was very sensitive to wool, so I didn't buy myself any woolen sweaters. I would rather freeze than wear it, to be honest. But eventually I stopped being so sensitive, so it opened a whole new world for me. I don't like it when people say that oh, people tried wool before and it was so much worse, and the wool now is so much better, and people that wasn't able to wear it before, you can wear it now. I don't think it's that for me. The sweaters I have in my closet, they are the sweaters that I couldn't wear before and I now can. And yes, it might be because I have given them a thorough wash, and made sure that all of the wool wash was actually out of them. But the woolen itself, I really did think it was scratchy. I think even this one is a bit too prickly if I get too warm. But that's just how it is. I don't think you ever, if you are sensitive to wool, I don't think you will ever get totally over it. I just think you'll learn to live with it in kind of a way. But I don't think you should necessarily. If you don't like wearing something, don't wear it. Do something else instead. So yeah. And that's also why we have acrylic yarns. If you are sensitive or allergic, because people can be allergic to wool, we have alternatives. And I don't want people to suffer. It's supposed to be fun. So yeah. I'm gonna put this sweater on the floor because I'm having a bit of space issue, to be honest. So please don't run away. Okay, good. I'm talking to my ball of yarn. So yeah. And that was... Yeah, I've talked about my finished object, I've talked about the thing I'm fixing. I can now tell you... Actually, I can tell you about the thing I fixed last week. I have it over here. I was annoyed last week because it turned out that I had worn through my heel again. This one. And I must say I did just a bad job this time as I did last time when I mended them. But since this is 100% wool, I will just end up felting the heel together. And hopefully next time I'm making holes in my heels, I'll be able to see it before the holes are actually there, so I can mend it properly by just doing duplicate stitch over the stitch that's already there. It's a lot easier to mend socks before there are actual holes in them. After the holes are there, yeah, it's more difficult. You can clearly see the color difference between the yarn that I have mended and the yarn I haven't. And also these socks are well worn, so they are on the last leg, to be honest, which is a very fun expression when you're talking about socks. But I don't have a lot of socks at the moment. I have worn out way too many and not been quick enough with knitting new ones. So I'm doing all I can to mend the pairs I have, so I can actually still stay warm. The purple pair that I showed last week, and that was the new finished object then, they are amazing on the foot, but they are not warm at all. My feet are super cold, even when I'm wearing normal socks inside those socks. I always do that. I am a bit afraid that I'm gonna catch some floats, or just in general catch some of the yarn on like a sharp toenail or something like that. And I really don't want to get my woolen socks too sweaty, and having a layer of normal socks in between kind of like at least catches some of the sweat, so my woolen socks aren't too gross. But yeah, I am doing my best trying to mend my socks. These are made out of Filcolana Pernilla in 2 different colors. The yellow one is mustard or something along that lines, and the other one is papegøyegrønn, I think. Parrot green. I'm not sure, but I will have the information down here, as I have said before. So yeah, those are the socks that I have mended, and this is the socks I'm gonna mend. These are my under the oak socks, which are difficult to see in this light. I'm gonna show one of them, I think. There you go. I really do love these colors. They are so pretty. The green one is grangrønn, and the brown is just called brown. They are made out of Dale yarn alpaca forte. And I love these socks. They are amazing. These are warm. The alpaca is making them pretty warm. And they are knit on larger needles. I used 3mm needles to knit these. Now the reason why I decided I needed to mend them, I don't know how easy to see. I'm trying to, in this light it's hard to see. But yeah, the thing is, this stripe, it is a textured knit, and this is not easy to see at all. I'm gonna do this so that when I hold this up to the camera, you might be able to see. Yeah. Here, in this brown stripe, in the textured knit, it's starting to like slightly wear out. Not enough that it's an actual hole yet, but it will eventually become a hole, and obviously I don't want that. This one is so much easier to see, probably. Like, yeah, not easy at all. There you can see it. It's starting to wear through. So I have decided that I'm gonna have to mend them, obviously. So I washed them and I depelled them. And to be honest, they are still super pilly. But this alpaca is super sticky and it's so hard to get anything out of them once you started trying to depill them. So I am gonna do my best to mend this stripe here under the foot. Probably also gonna do that with some of the green, because the green is also slightly worn out. It's on the same spot on both feet actually, or like mirrored. So I probably have ended up wearing these on the same foot multiple times, so they haven't gotten even worn out under the foot. I'm gonna look them over properly, both the heels and the toes and the balls of my feet, and I'm gonna mend them properly. I have quite a lot of the color brown. I also have an extra skein of the green, or more like these are the leftovers from the last time I knit these socks, and I have knit these socks plenty of times. Yeah, I'm just gonna mend the socks and do a better job at weaving in the ends, because I love how these socks look. And I'm gonna make more of them, because clearly I'm using them a lot. And I have made a decision when it comes to sock knitting, which means I can take my new cast on into the picture. I'm just gonna put this away. My reward for finishing the purple socks were that I could cast on a new pair, so I did. And I really do love this yarn. These are not just gonna be vanilla socks. I was planning on doing a cable pattern, but I forgot that to do a cable pattern I need to have a larger needle size, and then I was like, I can just change to a different needle size when I do get through the cuff. But I don't know how easy it's to see, but these cuffs, or this yarn, is super variegated. It is really pretty. It's blue and green and turquoise. And also some purple. Yeah. So I thought the yarn was too good to distract from it. So these are just gonna be vanilla socks. The yarn is Strikketante Anita Strikketante, in the colorway 172, I think. The number will be down here. These colorways don't have names, they have numbers, which are very difficult to remember. But yeah, I am gonna end up with quite a lot of leftovers because this is 100-gram skein, and I use approximately 60 to 70 grams per sock, or per pair of socks. So I'm gonna have leftovers that I can use for heels and toes later, which will be very nice because I'm a bit bored with one colored socks, but I don't feel like I can just take 2 fresh skeins and make a weird color combination when I don't know how the fabric looks, I guess. I am kind of thinking, because I do still have this much left over from the purple pair, and I am contemplating on using this yarn as the base color and use this for the whole heel, toe, and perhaps the cuffs. Perhaps not the cuffs, I don't think I have enough. But this is not actual sock yarn. This is Lifelink Longgrass singles. Yeah, in the colorway Angel City. So I did have 2 stripes of this in these purple socks that I'm actually wearing at the moment. And it was a really nice combination. But I'm a bit worried about knitting with non-sock yarn when I do have so much actual sock yarn. But none of the colors I have been speaking to me lately, and I think that's because I want tonal yarns for socks, and I do have too much either variegated or one colored not tonal yarn, and it hasn't been speaking to me, kind of, yeah. I am thinking of using that orange for the cable pattern. I was planning on the one that I have, but I don't know if that's gonna work out either. I'm thinking a lot and I haven't quite decided. I don't know how I ended up with so much orange yarn, because I'm not a fan of orange. I've never been. And I don't like how orange looks on me. So I am thinking of destashing some of the orange yarn, but I just don't know who to give it to or sell it to. I don't know that many people that like orange except for my mother-in-law, but she doesn't knit, so that wouldn't work. So I would have to kind of be in cahoots with my grandma or something to actually make her something. But I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, skipping the rambling for this time, for the time being, and talking about my second whip. I've shown you my new cast on, and I would like to show you the progress I've had on my other sweater that's gotten some, not a lot, attention the past week. So yeah, I had last time put the front and the back on 2 different needles, or I had put one of them on hold, I think, tried on tubing, but I actually thought that was more cumbersome. So they're back on the same needle. I did some measurements and I also did some calculating and realized that I'm missing approximately 60 stitches to get the circumference of my body, and 60 stitches divided by 2, because I haven't gonna add the stitches on either side, is 30 stitches. And to be honest, I don't think I can add 30 stitches under the arms without doing more shaping. I don't think that's gonna look good. So I'm back with increases, and at the moment I am trying to get the front and the back the same. I'm still working on the front, but now I have gotten to the place where I am actually increasing to do the underarm shaping. I am probably gonna make the armholes a bit deeper than I originally planned, but I don't mind, because that just means you have more space under your arms, and I don't like it when sweaters are like too up into your armpits. I would prefer a lot of sweaters to be a tiny bit bigger in that area. And also that means you get more space for your overarms, and I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I do not aim to have the smallest arms possible. I would actually like to be able to lift things and live my life, so having a bit of muscle on my arms is kind of needed. But that also means that you actually do need to have enough space in your sweaters to actually be able to like move around. And often I find that I think traditional arm sizes are too small for me. They are too small for me. I do not know if anyone else has that problem, but it has been quite the issue for me for quite a few years. I think actually most of my life, because I don't know if you can see, I have like the tiniest wrists ever, but my overarms, they are not skinny. They have both some fat and some muscle and tissue in general, and trying to find something that fits well and doesn't feel like it's strangling my overarms, it's a struggle. And also if they do end up fitting quite well over my overarms, upper arms, when they do get down here, they often, the cuffs will be so big that it will just slide off my hands. So I guess I have some weird proportions, perhaps. Yeah, but I have had quite a lot of progress. They are now almost the same in the front and the back, and I am thinking of attaching a ball of yarn to both sides again, so I can kind of knit in the round. It's more like knit the front of knit the right side of the front, knit the right side of the back, knit the back side, wrong side of the back, knit the wrong side of the front, and then going like, yeah. So they will be equal and easier to keep track of, and also easier to see. And also in the beginning I'm gonna increase every other round, which I have already been doing with back. And after that, I have only done one increase on the front, I see. I even showed you the wrong side. I've done one increase on this side. On the other side I haven't done any increases yet. But yeah, when the front and the back are the same length, I would prefer to just go back and forth between the front and the back. And in the beginning, increasing every other round. After that I'm gonna increase every round to get it more sharply shaped, and not make the armholes too deep. And then I'm gonna put it all together and knit in the round, and I really can't wait for that. I am super excited to be knitting in the round. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go over my math again because I have forgotten how many increases I wrote down I needed, and I don't know where that paper went. Yeah, that happens. Good thing it's not very difficult. But yeah, you have seen this before, but I'm gonna show you anyway. I have this fantastic shoulder shaping detail from when I picked up the front from the back. And the way I knit it is so that when you have it over your shoulder, you have this detail in the front where you have half the panel, diamond pattern panel, which also means you get a slight more coverage on the front than the back when it comes to the armhole, but they will eventually be the same size. The back and front, you only get a very slight difference at the very top, which I think will be a very nice detail, to be honest. Yeah. Every other panel is this diamond pattern, which is a slip stitch pattern, but also an actual cable. And then this twisted rib pattern. And they are separated by 2 pearl rows. So it's actually 5 rounds where I just knit front and back, both knit. So you get these ridges. Yeah. I'm very happy. I'm very pleased. I have gotten a lot further than I expected, I guess. I did have a lot more knitting time this weekend than I have had in quite a while. Even though we went to a wedding on Friday, me and my mother-in-law, my husband couldn't get off work to attend. But we went to a wedding, and the wedding was at 3 o'clock. And it was really beautiful. It was on Valentine's Day. It was super cute. Yeah. The ceremony, I guess is the right word, was quite short, and then we had some talking in the front of the church before we all went our separate ways. The bride and the groom are the groom is my husband's cousin, so he and his wife decided they wanted a very small wedding, but they wanted the church to be open, so we came to church, and then they left for their dinner venue, I guess. Apparently it was really, really nice, that too. I'm very, very glad. So yeah, I'm kind of impressed that they were able to find a table for 20 people on Valentine's Day, but I guess it's easier to find a table for 20 than a table for 2. So yeah, it was very nice. But this weekend, me and my husband didn't have any plans, which was really good, like after the wedding. So when I came home on Friday, we gamed a bit, I got in a lot of knitting, and the rest of the weekend we were just lounging around, playing some games when we wanted to, watching TV, knitting a lot. Which was why I was a bit annoyed on Sunday when I was like, I'm gonna get this sleeve done, and then, yeah, no. I really wanted to be done with one sleeve just so I could like actually have some progress. But it didn't end up that way. So yeah, I am gonna rearrange some of the things that I'm doing, not physically, but more like what I'm planning to do. So I'm gonna start with the socks that I'm mending because I desperately want them done. And then the pair that I'm knitting for my sister-in-law that hasn't actually been touched this year, I think. I need to get a move on with those. And I do want to try knitting them in the round instead of on magic loop. Though I do not want to use DPNs, so I have decided I'm gonna take one of my small circumference needles and try to see if I like it that way. Because if I do, I'm gonna buy myself sock knitting needles, small circumference in the size 2mm. Because the needles that I have that are small circumference are an interchangeable set. And they don't go below 3mm. So yeah. That's it how it is. But the 3mm is perfect for this yarn and this pattern. So perhaps I will finally get a move on with my sister-in-law's socks so that I can knit myself a second pair of under the yoke socks. I can actually show you her under the yoke socks because they look quite different and they're right here, so it's not like I have to look for them. I just have to be careful when I try to get them out. Yes, here. Hers are red and brown. It's the same brown. And on this camera, the red doesn't look as red as they actually are. Go on. They are very, very, very red in real life. Like Christmas red. And in my eyes, it's kind of funny because I look at them and think they kind of look like berries in the forest. So they're still kind of like under the oak. They're just a different time of the year. And I really do enjoy that. So yeah, I literally haven't touched them in at least a month. And I want to get them done for my sister-in-law. And also she has bigger feet than me, so she needs more stitches. Which might be apparent if I hold them up next to each other, might not. I did knit her cuffs larger because proportionally in the pattern I have made it so the cuffs and the stripes are proportional to the sizes, so they are not just one size. There are actually 4 sizes, I think, or maybe even more. I do have the possibility to grade them for more sizes if someone wants to, but I didn't find the need to include more sizes because I thought it would be too confusing. Yeah. So in the end, I think what I'm gonna do is start with mending these socks because I really want them mended. Then I'm gonna find the smaller circumference needles and get one of these on there. And yeah, knit furiously. And then also knit on the purple sweater when I want to change up the game, I guess. Because these socks, the reason why I usually like knitting these on magic loop is because it makes it easier to see when you are done with a round, because I have knit back to the beginning and I have this yarn ends telling me where the beginning is. But I do believe that at the moment it would be more beneficial to change them over to circular needles to get them going a bit faster. And also only one at a time. Because these I actually, instead of having both ends attached, I have a bow, which was a very good idea, to be honest. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do that now, probably. I'm gonna change them over and then I'm gonna mend my socks. And when I'm done with that, mending my socks that is, I'm gonna switch between the purple sweater and these socks in the vain hope that they will be done before the end of February. I am trying really hard to get this Fix It February or Finish It February off in the best possible way. And it's difficult, to be honest. I didn't know it would be that difficult. But yeah, I think I'm through my list of fixes, except for the purple sweater. I think that's my last one. Though I am contemplating on adding a few more rows to my cable sweater in the sleeves, because I still think they're too short, but I think that might also just be because I haven't blocked it yet. I think blocking it would make the sleeves a tiny bit longer, and then perhaps I don't need to add more length to the sleeves. Other than that, I am actually very pleased with that sweater now. So yeah, I am going to block that sweater. I should probably block that sweater now, so it will be dry as fast as possible, and then hopefully I can get the purple sweater done as fast as possible and block that one. And then I will have 3 sweaters to choose between instead of just this and the cabled sweater. I really do enjoy wearing my own knits, but haven't happened lately. This one I have worn a lot. I forgot to say that the green sweater is made out of Sandnes Garn Smart in the colorway Sjögrön, which is sea green. While these socks are made out of Dale yarn Alpaca Forte in the colorway red and brown. They don't have fancy names, it's just the green in my other pair that's got a really fancy name. But yeah. Maybe it's deep red? I think it's just red. Yeah. Whew. Okay, this was a bit faster than I expected. I did know I didn't have that much to say, but still. So yeah. Okay. And next week, hopefully, I will have figured out more of the sock yarn situation. I have been trying out different combinations to figure out if I can make a sweater out of some of it, but at the moment I'm on the fence. And also I want to get everything done before I jump into a second, third, fourth sweater project. Right now I had 2 green sweaters I'm knitting on, and I also have, of course, the purple one I'm fixing, but also 2 more sweaters that I have been hibernating for a little while. So yeah, really need to get this done so I can concentrate on sweaters. Yeah, that's the plan. Okay, thank you all for watching. This was a bit of a fast-paced episode and a bit all over the place. I didn't do the normal segregation of themes. So yeah, I hope this wasn't too chaotic, and I hope you have enjoyed the episode. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!